What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 72 of the Beanball Podcast. We are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
What's going on, everyone? What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
You know, counting down my days.
Yeah, we got some exciting news, huh?
Yeah. I'm retiring from the hotel life. Going back into restaurants.
All right.
Should be interesting. Should be fun.
When you start?
The 11th.
Ooh, okay.
So I got to take almost a week off. Hopefully I can at least go to one or two games here in Norfolk.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll see. The weather's looking not promising next week, but...
Yeah, around this time of the year, I feel like it's always just rainy and cold.
Yeah, like 30 or 40 chance. I think 3 of the days. I'm like, figures. But let's go right into some spring baseball. And what was the buzz about this one? Like, when you first announced 2 aces going in one game, buzz, you know, stuff like this for spring training creates a buzz. And, well, the stadium was packed, and I felt bad for the Cardinals a little bit once it first got announced. Man, that DeGrom and Scherzer are going to be 1-2 for a single spring training game.
Yeah, man. It reminds me of like an all-star game. You got 2 aces. You got 5 combined Cy Young awards between the 2 starting against you in spring training. That's tough.
It's like, yeah, if you want you guys get ready, here you go. Like,
I mean, if you're a guy on the other side trying to make the squad, that's not good either.
You're like, okay, we get DeGrom first 3 innings. Okay, then we'll get like the bullpen or a different guy, and it's like, oh, you know, you're getting Scherzer for the rest. Like, oh, great,
exactly.
And it didn't disappoint. You know, they said that DeGrom was going to go 3 and Max was going to finish off, and exactly what happened. DeGrom went for 3 innings, 4 hits allowed, 1 earned run with 5 Ks before Max came in, finishing with 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and 7 Ks for himself.
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, Buck thought it was fun to watch. The only thing I had not against it, but the only thing I had to say for that was I know it's still spring training, but I would have liked to see Scherzer be just a little bit more efficient. He threw 90 pitches through 6, which is not terrible, but I just like to see him do a little better than that.
Yeah, I understand that it'll be a little more easier to DeGrom since the injury last year.
Right.
Scherzer's like, okay, like the 5 innings, his first spring training. And really think about it, they only have one more game possibly because we're about a week away from opening day. So this is real quick. Like, you might get 1 inning or like a game, a full start, maybe an inning if you want to touch something up, but
oh yeah,
come next Thursday, it's game time.
Yeah, we open up April 7th against Washington.
Yep.
And then the very next game, Scherzer's on the mound. So DeGrom, you get DeGrom one game, you get Scherzer the next.
Yeah.
That's not great for you.
Yeah, but the only thing that kind of stole a little thunder about the game besides the pitching was Lindor hitting 2 home runs, 1 from each side of the plate.
Yeah, no,
he's looking so far so good this spring.
Absolutely.
So if you keep this up, you're gonna be worth the money that we paid you now. Like,
yeah,
so.
he absolutely looked good that game.
So, but it's interesting, you know, it's insane thinking about like one more start for each of them, like already, even though because spring just kind of started, but because they didn't have us get ready to stretch out, it's like that's why I feel like there are going to be a lot of bullpen games come that first week or two if some of these pitchers are not stretched out by then.
Yeah, and then DeGrom was upset because he didn't get to watch Scherzer finish the game. He had to go do his stuff after he pitched. So I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to watch him pitch after that, but you got to get ready. So,
yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're going to feed off each other.
They have to,
in the dugout. Like I can imagine, like whoever's not pitching that day is going to egg them on, like give them pointers. Like this is going to be something special. But Max is going to be the second game in Washington, and then of course Apple announced that that's going to be one of the first Apple TV games of the week. They announced the first, I think, 12 weeks, and they're going to do a doubleheader the first night, but of course Mets and Washington will be one of the first games at 7. But at least if you don't have Apple TV, you can subscribe for a free trial for that night to try it out. If not, you need to subscribe to Apple TV, which it's not bad. I think I used to pay for it. It's like $4 a month.
Okay.
So it's an option, but unless you're on T-Mobile, get that free subscription.
Yeah, I mean, and another one of our picks has actually been panning out pretty cool. Mark Canha.
Yeah,
he's been pretty good so far in spring training. So I hope he carries that to the regular season.
Yeah, like it's looking good. Like he was a great guy with the A's and stuff. So it's like it's solidified. Marte finally is getting some at bats. Everyone was worried that he wasn't gonna be ready, but he got to play defensive on Sunday when they played this game, and he didn't. Well, he took a bat because they went through the lineup quick. So he did swing once, but he was not supposed to. Buck would kind of look at him. But he did play tonight. I saw here I got a double, so he's looking good. So hopefully that means he's fine for opening day. So
all right. Well, speaking of rakers, this one is pretty cool if you've been watching baseball for a while. So it looks like Pujols is back with the Cardinals.
This is nice to come full circle, to go back to the team that started everything. A 1 year, $2.5 million deal. And then that literally like this kind of like started getting noise overnight. Deal was done. And the next day he was at camp and they kind of did a standing ovation. He came out from outfield to dugout. Everyone was clapping. I saw people from the bullpen got up to start clapping. Like, this is what this guy brings. Like, yes, DH helped him get this job back because of this year.
But we love to see that. I like to see guys hit. So if that's what the DH position's doing right now, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. And of course, those $2.5 million, he has a chance to make more, which, you know, it's like $100,000 if he gets All-Star, $50,000 Silver Slugger, $100,000 for Gold Glove, which that's not happening. He's just going to be a hitter.
Right.
$100,000 for MVP, but if he finishes the top 10 MVP vote, he gets $50,000. And of course, he gets money if he's like MVP of each division playoff. Max out. So roughly he can earn at max if he gets all these, which is highly doubtful, any of these.
Well,
it's like almost just over $500,000 extra.
Does he have any incentive for hitting 700?
Nothing that was announced.
Okay.
So, but of course, after the game and stuff, he press conference talk about the deal and stuff, and he confirmed it. This is it. This is the Swan goodbye season, which we kind of figured last couple of years, like. This one, it's like, okay, this has to be it. And
well, you know, I mean, I know we talk about it, but I don't necessarily see any signs of a reason that he needs to step back. Yes, he can't play the position every day, but as a DH, he does make a difference. I mean, last season he had 17 home runs, but he only had 275 at bats. So in my eyes, when he's chasing 700,
especially on the Dodgers, where you had so many people.
Right.
To pitch hit and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And they didn't have DH last year.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that I think he has a great chance of getting his 700 home run. And like I said, because last year, if you look at the stats, the home run to at-bat ratio, he hit a home run about 6% of his at-bats. If you look at the other guys in the league, Pete Alonso, his home run to at-bat ratio was 6.5%.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper and even Tatis were about 7%. So he's right there. So if you give him a full season of letting him hit every day, not like once here and once there, if he's in the lineup, I think he's going to produce.
Yeah, so the chance of coming back to the Cardinals, getting to retire a Cardinal, and of course, like we just said, chase that number 700. But also, Yachty already said this is last year, so now you're going out with your co-guy for all those years together, and now it sets up even more to talking about, like, I hope we go in the hall one day. You're talking 5 years from now, Cardinals might have a lot of celebrate up at Cooperstown, with both of them most likely being first ballot Hall of Famers.
Absolutely. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they've both been great. I don't think Pujols hasn't even been linked to steroids. He was out there calling people out when they were getting linked for steroids back in the day. I feel like, he's one of the best hitters we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, it's been about a decade since people have seen him rake for real, but
yeah.
if you remember,
the Angels years was
exactly.
There's one All-Star year of the Angels years. The rest, the Cardinals, you had like 8 straight years of All-Star.
Just super one of the best hitters I've ever seen.
His rookie year, he was an All-Star. That's how good he was. But speaking of that number 700, like, he's 21 away.
I think he's easily going to get it.
So if you look at the last couple years, like you just said, he's about 1 home run per 20 at-bats. So he needs about 400 at-bats to get to there.
And with the full season, he should get there.
So you're talking about 100 games,
right?
Roughly.
You got to think the top 10 or the top 15 home runs hitters last year, they probably all had about 500 at bats.
So if he has a chance to get near close, it's going to be something special.
I'm calling it, man. I think he's going to do it shortly after the All-Star break.
So you're thinking August-ish, maybe July.
Late July, August.
If he gets at bats and he gets hot, or like he does even less every 20 at bats, then you're like, this is going to happen. Like, this is going to be that MLB TV, like, oh, we're looking in the chase for 700.
It would be sick if he finished the season at 699, because then you got me thinking of like Mr. 300 or whatever that movie.
Oh, that Mr. 3000
yeah,
where
Mr.
he gets
3000,
the hit, come back,
or whatever.
Like a couple of hits off his record series that come back to get him.
That'll be like Pujols. So like, oh, he almost did it. I think 700 is definitely there though.
Yeah, it's going to be close to be a great story, and that is a very, very exclusive club.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is something, beating 600 home run, you already lock yourself in the Hall of Fame. 700, you're just like, you just need to put me there. And it's going to be very interesting the percentage vote once those 5 years from now happen, because some people are going to be judgmental, but
I mean, how do you not get him in? I mean, this guy, he's one of the best hitters we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's a 3-time MVP, 10-time All-Star. He's got 2 Gold Gloves, batting title. He's got a lot of, Rookie of the Year, World Series winner twice, 6-time Silver Slugger. He's got the stats.
I think I saw something where he's the only player to have like 600 home runs, 3,000 hits, and I think some RBIs, and have 2 World Series rings.
Right. And another stat, that people like to debate, but when we talk about Hall of Fame, this is always in the discussion. His WAR is a 99.6 career. He's getting in.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to cut it up, but the guy's earned it. And we don't even know how old he is. They say he's 42, but he could be like Bartolo Colon. We don't know.
Like, there'd be no doubt about he's getting first inning. If Ortiz can get in first,
absolutely,
with his later part of the career, not his early part of the career. So I think it's justice that Pujols is the first ballot Hall of Fame. Most likely with Yachty, it's gonna be an awesome club in 5 years.
I'm saying he is absolutely comparable to Big Papi.
And of course, in 5 years, we see how much noise, if any, Zimmerman gets. I think he might fall off first ballot. He might not. He might be for a couple years and fall off.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know if Zimmerman's getting in, but he is absolutely one of the best players, obviously, that the Nationals have ever had. He's been a great career guy there. He was fun to watch forever. So
it's going to be interesting if anyone else retires after the season, or who else could be possibly this first ballot Hall of Fame lineup where I got 2 names looking like it, and where we're at. So 2027?
Yeah.
So, but hey, congratulations, can come back. I can't wait. So now it's like, do we travel to see his last hurrah? I looked. He does go to Nationals, I think, end of July on a weekend. It's like, that might have to do it. Got to say goodbye. Get a chance to see him.
When did you say this was?
End of July.
Oh, are we going to be talking about number 700 in the stands?
It's a possibility.
So yeah, we'll
it's going to keep an eye on that, because like if there's a chance,
you're right. I mean, like I was saying,
that's gonna be a hot ticket that weekend. It's a weekend series. I think it's a Friday, Saturday night game, and then a day game Sunday. So I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
that isn't that closeness territory. If he gets hot, it's like,
you ain't lying.
It's like we might have to do it.
But like I've been telling you, I also want to see.
Oh yeah, the Angels.
I also want to see the Angels. Yeah. I want to see Trout healthy. I want to see Ohtani pitching and raking. I want to see them in a run.
Yeah, well, if you're an Orioles fan, I saw they did a promotion. The first 2 home series, they're going to bring back the prices from 1992 when they opened the stadium.
Oh, what were those
tickets
prices?
Start at $4.
They're saying it's a promotion, but it's actually what they're worth paying.
And I was
for.
like, who's the first 2 series? It's Milwaukee and Yankees. I'm like, Yankees fans are going to travel for those prices.
Yeah, it'd be a Yankee home game.
Yeah.
But what
they already travel enough for that stadium.
What I'm saying is, when it comes out that you only spend $30 million on your payroll, you expect us to spend $60 on a ticket?
Right. Man. So speaking about some money getting paid, the D-backs gave their star Kendall Marte a extension of $76 million over 5 years.
Right, and it also includes a team option for the 2028 season that could be worth up to $13 million.
Yeah, so pretty much this was the last year of his contract. He had 2 club options, 2023, 2024. Those are now guaranteed at 3 more years. This is something that needed to be done for the D-backs.
Yeah, and I'm glad they got it done too, because Marte was injured last season. He only had like 90 games to play, but in those 90 games he batted .318 with 29 doubles and 14 home runs.
Yeah,
so not bad.
Yeah, back in 2016, he earned his first All-Star selection, finished 4th in the MVP voting after hitting the .329 with 32 home runs, 92 RBIs. And of course that was when, and then during the pandemic shortened season, he only had 2 home runs, 17 RBIs, but everyone's numbers were down those years. Mm-hmm. Everyone was affected, but last year he did come back, had great numbers when he did play. So there's no reason to believe that he can keep the momentum going in 2022 and beyond. So this makes so much sense for a team that is.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
But my issue is, what else?
Yeah.
You can't just. This is not the answer.
They got to be believing their young core they got coming up or something.
I'm just saying the D-backs are like one string away from getting no hit twice again this season. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, man.
Like maybe they're figuring out. I don't know. They have some guys they're working out that in the minor leagues. But this is your guy you want to keep around.
This is the guy they're going to build around. So,
or if anything, if you think your guys are now a couple years away, is this a trade chip? Because now since he's locked in for 5 more years, this is get you a better haul of prospects. We'll see what they do with that, but he's happy. He's 28. So we'll see if he can come back to his old self this year. Around 100 RBIs if he has players on base to do that. So,
all right.
But good for him, man.
Yeah,
I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he's a good enough player. He deserved it. But they got to do some other stuff.
Oh yeah.
But all right. Well, next thing I want to talk about is Aaron Judge. He's been waiting forever to get an offer from the Yankees, and we finally have an answer.
This is the walk year. This is pay me or I'm walking. But
you guys, if you've been following us, you know our story about how we almost got Judge's autograph
before the big breakout year.
Oh man, and we were that was so sick. Don't remind me of that.
So, but we'll soon get a proposal from a long-term contract extension from the Yankees, and Brian Cashman said Saturday. Between now and opening day, we'll make an offer that he'll obviously receive an offer, and all conversations have taken place and will either resolve into a multi-year deal or it won't. Yankees are open up April 7th at home against the Red Sox. Judge said Saturday that he's pretty sure it doesn't want to negotiate a new contract during the season. The outfielder turns 30 next month and is eligible to become a free agent, of course, after the World Series.
Right. So the only thing that sucks about this situation is that a lot of his teammates, they're just like LeMahieu, DJ LeMahieu's like, I can't imagine anywhere else, him anywhere else but on the Yankee stripes. And a lot of other of his teammates really want him back as well. But the issue is that the Yankees, they have been prioritizing their roster for this year, and they've had 11 arbitration eligible players settle on 1-year deals. Yeah. So are they trying to offer this guy money?
And then they had a quiet offseason.
Right.
They didn't add too much. Apparently, they're looking to restructure the minor league system, build because they know they need to go younger. They're seeing what the Rays are doing, Blue Jays. So their thing is is Judge their centerpiece?
I don't know.
He's 30.
That's right. And you see what the other guy who's supposed to be panning out has been doing there, Giancarlo. It's like hit or miss, and they're paying him a lot of money too.
Yeah. So like you said, the salary, the arbitration, he asked for a raise from $10 million to $21 million, and the Yankees offered 17. So they're going to the
close. Well, yeah. No, I know what you're saying, but I don't know, man. What do you think's going to happen in this situation?
Sounds like me they're being a little cheap.
Which is weird because they do still have the top 3 in payroll, I believe.
I think number 3 behind us, I feel like.
Right, but they're always up there, so they're not afraid to spend the money.
So, last year he batted just under 300 with 287, 39 home runs, just short of the 100 RBIs at 98. Man.
What was his average?
Last year 287.
Yeah, man, pay the guy. Pay the guy. He's worth it. A power hitter who's hitting close to 300, getting about 100 RBIs.
Yeah. And he'll be your face of your franchise for the next 6 years. So give him that 6-7 year extension. They'll go through the rest of his prime and then his later years, which by then he'll probably turn into a DH at those later years.
Man, what's crazy is that when I think of the Yankees, we always know they just spend the money and get the players that are best available. But what's crazy is that the Yankees are getting out Yankeed by the Dodgers. Yeah. The Dodgers are doing what the Yankees are doing, but better.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But if you remember, their core of those years in the 90s was when Steinbrenner didn't have control of the team, and they went draft picks and build a team, and maybe they're realizing that this has got to do it again, and maybe they can hope. They have some good prospects, but it's how long you think it's going to take them to develop to come up to where Judge can help this team with them.
Well, I hope they give him something that he likes before opening day, just because I feel like they need to go ahead and solidify this, let this guy relax, get focused on the season, because, last year I was over here thinking the Yankees are going to go all the way. They still have the talent. It's just that for whatever reason, it's not happening. No. And you and I both said that they need some pitching.
They do.
They've needed pitching since Sabathia walked away. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they have a lot of questions after Garrett Cole, and it's like...
Absolutely.
It's like, so who's going to step up? You got some younger guys. Can they prove themselves in the Yankee uniform to be behind Cole? It's...
Right. It's nowadays...
And with the moves that Blue Jays and Red Sox have done, and we know what the Rays have done the last 2 years... You can look at the possibility Yankees can be the 4th best team in that division.
Absolutely. That division is tough. The thing I think of is that, you can't get it done with just one ace nowadays.
No.
You got to have a top three.
Yeah.
You got to be competitive. Like, it's crazy because if you think about it, back in the day, you could have got away with one ace. If Randy Johnson's on your team, you're good. Kurt Schilling, you're good. Now you need DeGrom and Scherzer. You need a 1-2 punch. You got to have something like that because everybody can hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Yankees need to step that up.
Especially nowadays, everyone's getting used to everyone throwing 100 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
Before, you hit the home run like that was gas.
It was.
Now it's like everyone's throwing it.
Yeah, we got guys throwing 104, But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, like, the Yankees, yes, you guys rely on your bats, but you need to focus on a full-range team right now.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Because, like you said, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, all of them, Tampa Bay is always good. They're all stepping up. Everybody's trying, except for the Orioles.
Which, within the next 3 to 4 years, with all those young prospects they got,
if they keep them,
they should be doing some stuff here in a couple years. So that is a very tough division. And I feel like the East in general, both divisions are going to be hard this year.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Speaking of team, so usually we break down each league, but because of fast track and everything, we're just going to do a preseason power ranking from 30 to 1, describing each team, who we got, who we think they are. And of course, we figure out, this is as of right now, if you figure the top 12 teams are roughly what we're saying are the playoff teams, because 12 teams get in this year. So we're going to start off the bottom. I feel like we both got number 30 on our roster, the Baltimore Orioles.
Absolutely. They are straight garbaggio.
I feel like they could have been a little higher for me in front of the Pirates if Rutschman was healthy, probably making the team out of the gate, and a couple other guys, but because they're still not ready, I think they're the bottom of the barrel for now. Yeah. They might not end the season right here at 30. They might be a little better if these guys,
look, man,
which we think they can be,
like
bring
I said,
up.
When we saw how much these teams are spending, and these guys are spending $30 million in their whole total. You can't expect much. I mean, I'm not going to say they can't do like a St. Peter's and make a run for it. But I'm saying when all you have is Mountcastle and Trey Mancini, I like those guys, but they're not enough.
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman is really good. He can come up quickly. I hope he doesn't because we got to see him down here first.
I feel like I think he's a couple weeks away from starting up, so he might be down AAA maybe a month. So we'll say May-ish.
Okay.
He'd probably be up with the Orioles making his debut. It wouldn't surprise me.
And they also have another prospect. They got another pitching prospect, Grayson Rodriguez.
Yes.
But as of
He's
right now,
AA, right?
I'm not sold on it. But they could be close.
Yeah.
They could be good.
Until Trey Mancini, they called a lot of their prospects up from AA to the majors.
Right.
Now this new regime, new GM and stuff, so it might be a longer develop where they're like, we're not rushing. We want to get the guys fully developed. Of course, remember, some of these players missed a whole year of development being at summer camp.
Absolutely.
So they might be a little behind. But
so we're not hating on the Orioles. We see what you're doing.
Yeah.
But right now, you're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
So that's all I got to say about that. All right.
I think next one we might have the same one too.
All right. Who we got?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Yeah.
These two have been having the number one picks the last 2-3 years, So the Pirates, of course, in November, December, they made a lot of moves to get ready for 2022, but hope to see their growth from the top prospects to big leagues, continue to prioritize their player developments, and some moves brought in established MLB talents, but sent well-knowns to free agency markets and, of course, traded to other teams for prospects.
Right. I mean, so, these guys, like you said, prospects. They're in a building. They're building. That's all they're doing. They have O'Neal Cruz. He's a shortstop. He could be their opening day, but he's like their top prospect. But other than that, I'm not sure what all they have going for them. Like you said, they have a number one pick from last year, Henry Davis.
Yeah,
behind
catcher,
the plate.
yes.
Is he going to be up there this year?
That's a possibility. He was the best college bat last draft, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did make camp or very soon up with that team.
But the only other thing that brings to my mind in Major League, and we just touched base on this, is pitching.
Yes,
their best thing they got going for them is is Mitch Keller maybe, and that's just and that's not even a solid thing.
He's been injured and stuff and hasn't done his full potential. Like, we thought this could be one of their guys that they got, and has been there what a lot of expectations thought of him.
I'm just saying at this point they're going to be at the bottom of their division.
Yeah.
So that's all. I mean, I don't have much to say about Pittsburgh. I haven't had to talk about them since they lost McCutchen. They just haven't been the same.
No, until the fire sales of last year, the trades, and then you're looking back at the trade when you got Chris Archer to the prospects for the Rays, which Rays made 2 of them all-star, and one just is probably making his full season debut as a high prospect. So it's like, that one hurts.
Okay.
So All right, next one. Who do you got?
The Diamondbacks.
I got the same one.
And it's not that I don't have faith. It's just that, like you said, you only signed Marte, and other than that, the only people I know on your team is people that I watched here local. Christian Walker. I just don't know who else they got to compete.
So remember, they're coming off a 110 loss season. They're tied with Orioles, but because D-backs had a better record the season before, they'd lost the number one picks. The Orioles have it. Sorting out the bullpen is their big priority because only the Orioles had a worse bullpen last year with a 5.08.
Right.
So the number changes the coaching staff. They add a new bench, pitching, hitting, assistant pitching, and another assistant pitcher all into this team this year. So almost a whole new coaching staff behind their manager.
I don't think that's the issue, though. I think it's a lot. I think
maybe they're hoping
talent.
that these guys can develop their young guys.
Well, also last year I believe they were also injury ridden
a lot.
So you had like Mad Bum,
yeah,
a lot of other guys that were out, but. It's the same thing. Yeah, you have Ketel Marte, Christian Walker. If he shows up, I don't know. You got some guys that can hit, but there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah,
there's just nothing exciting. I don't think any pitching it's just not there.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be hard to compete. That's all I got for that. I don't even know what to say about these guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. A bunch of new managers. Hopefully they can fix or develop these younger guys and maybe make their next step, but. It's going to be another long season. You're prioritizing the draft. And so hopefully in a couple of years, we don't have to talk about you at the bottom barrel. All right, number 27. We might be something different.
I think we might be something different.
All right. I have the Oakland A's.
I have the Nationals.
Okay. So I did the Oakland A's after being left out of the postseason for the first time since 2017. It started in the early offseason when they let their longtime manager, Bob Melvin, go to the Padres.
Yeah.
That led to his bench coach, Mark Glossley, being the new manager. But then you trade your three of your top players to begin the rebuild process, and you still have two guys that you might be trading before the trade deadline. So this is going to be that fully rebuild season. The rumors are swirling that you might be going to Vegas. How committed are you to developing this team now?
And I agree with you, man, because like you said, they lost a lot. Chris Bassett, he's now a Met.
Yeah.
One of their pitchers, Matt Olson, he's a Brave. Matt Chapman's on the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
They're losing their team. I get it. And they spent no money?
Zero. They're the only team who didn't spend no money in the free agency market.
So I agree with you that they are definitely in rebuild mode. But for some reason, I just know what they can do and what they have faith in themselves. I'm not saying
I think yes. I know some reason they always win, but I'm but was a lot with Bob Melvin at the helm. But yes, this is Bob Melvin's other guy, so maybe he learned so much from Bob that he can just keep it going. But
I guess I just have faith. I just have a little bit of faith. Not
just
much.
Something that Moneyball there.
Not much because
it makes something work.
And I guess the reason I say not much is because yes, I have faith, but they are my 26th. So
yeah.
So not much faith. We're right there basically.
Okay. So you have the Nationals at 27.
Yeah.
I have them a little higher.
Okay, we can wait to talk about them.
No, we can talk about them a little bit.
All right, so the Nationals. The reason I don't like anything that they're doing, and the only reason that they have, the only thing they got going for them right now is Juan Soto.
Yes.
And it's not even a long-term situation.
What, 2 more years after this year?
But who's to say they don't even trade him? Because what I've been seeing is there's no way I can put full faith in you when you let go of Max Scherzer and Trey Turner and got what in return? I don't even know.
Their top pitching prospect and the top catching prospect.
Right, which tells me rebuild. Which, if you're in a rebuild mode, I don't think Juan Soto wants to wait around to go back to the show. Maybe he does, but all I'm saying is you guys got to have a healthy Strasburg.
Yeah.
You guys got to have Juan Soto, and that's not enough.
Yeah.
You guys are in a tough division. Your division is tough. It's not like you guys can beat us around. You got the Mets that are tough. The Phillies getting tough. The Braves are the
defending World Series champions.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like this is what I'm saying, that they're kind of lower on my ranking because I feel like not just the team itself, but the division they're in is that much better.
Okay. I have them at number 24.
Okay.
I have 2 teams below them. We can talk about them in a little bit. But so yeah, with the roster overhaul from the 21 trade deadline, like you said, this is the first full season of the new chapter in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
You're building around your young talent like your Soto, the key piece for the future, like right-hander Joshua Gray, and the catcher Kelvin Rush was the 2 guys from the trade last year. The last question, like you said, for the Nationals is the pitching.
Right.
Will they be healthy or will they make that next step? Because, Corbin was good the World Series years. After that, it's been a terrible signing.
Yeah.
Strasburg has played 2 games last 2 years.
Which is sick because I really like Strasburg.
After getting the MVP and signing that extension.
Yeah, he's just not healthy. And when he first signed him, he was one of the guys just throwing 100+ miles an hour and
$30 million a year.
And
like,
then he hurt his arm early in the season.
And then spring training comes, something happened, and then it just.
All I'm saying is the most exciting news I heard besides Juan Soto coming back for another year is Nelson Cruz. That's like we said last week. It's so confusing me because you're like, okay, we're hearing Dodgers, Padres. Like, it makes sense. It does make sense.
They're two, heavy favorites. New DH position. If you want to win a ring, that's who you go with.
Right.
But apparently, he had conversation with Soto and decided to go there.
Maybe, or he just wanted an easy round and just like, I don't need to do much here because there's no expectations.
So it's it's kind of bad. So, all right. So that was your 27. You said your 26 is the A's.
Yep. We already talked about that.
My 26 is another team that's been as busy as the A's, the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
The Reds are among clubs who have unfinished business, but before extending the pause, the Reds, made some unpopular transactions and effort from the owner to reduce payroll. So they shipped a lot of their guys who had high payroll, made the general manager, Nick, some holes to fill. Still a good team. The rotation have a lot of question marks after trading some guys. And yes, the division's a little weaker besides who's in the division I'm thinking about? Oh, Cardinals and Milwaukee.
Okay.
Cubs are And then who else is in the division? Cubs, Reds. Why am I just blanking for it? Brewers, Cardinals. There's someone else I'm missing. I don't know. Who am I missing? Oh, well. I don't think no one we talked about yet. No. Oh, wait. Pirates?
Oh, are they in there?
I think it is. Yeah, I think Pirates is the other one. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, they're a little better than Pirates. But, it's when you want to reduce payroll, it's telling me, like, are you rebuilding or are you just being cheap owner?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just a lot of, losing Sonny Gray. Yes, you have the defending Rookie of the Year, of course, because he's making the league minimum, which is now $700,000 this year. It's like, how cheap would it be? Yes, you got Mike Nusakas on a decent number, but you don't have anyone else. So it's like, how many of these pieces that you still have are going to be trade pieces come to trade deadline if they're having good years?
Okay.
So that's how I got for my 26.
Okay, I got him a little higher. I got him like 24.
Okay.
But I think my 26 would be the Tigers.
Okay.
And you know why? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that this happens every year. It's just like, I'm not excited. I don't know.
Let's see. Where do I have the Tigers? Mine's pretty high on the list.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll talk about. I can talk about them. You want to talk about them now, or you want to wait?
Oh, we can wait.
Okay. So that was 20. So 25.
All right.
I have the Rockies.
Yeah. 25.
Yeah.
I have the Rockies as well.
Yeah. So enter what would be a weird 2022 season, sizable needs, couple roster spots to play, and presumably room to add payroll. But adding Bryant was a good move. But like we said, pitching, like what pitching staff do you got is the biggest question for me. You have a older Charlie Blackmon. So it's like, who's going to replace Travis Story at shortstop? And it's like so many question marks because, you had Arenado, Story, Blackmon, and you couldn't get done. Now you're fully rebuilt and you just throw a bunch of money at Chris Bryant, which is going to be most likely your left field, sometimes third base, I guess. But
yeah,
what's the game plan with that?
Yeah, I mean, so they did a little bit of stuff. They got German Marquez. They locked him up through 2024. He's their pitcher.
Yeah.
They also got a free agent, Alex Colomé. But the issue that I have besides Bryant is where's the rest of their bats?
Yeah.
Who do they have?
A bunch of young guys. Like, yeah, they're a little scrappy at times last year, but it's like, okay,
it's a tough one, man.
Yeah. You didn't want to pay your two guys anymore that you're paying $50 million for Arenado to play against you, but yet you're going to throw almost $30 million or 25 or something to Bryant each year. It's like, please explain this to me. I don't make sense at all to me. It's so weird. Like, it's still, I think, baffling everyone around baseball about the Bryant signing, but hey, it is what it is. So our next one would be 24. We already talked about Nationals for me. So who would be your 24?
My 24. Let's see. It was. Oh, I have the Marlins down there.
Marlins?
Yeah.
I'm a little higher.
Okay.
I have them at 20, so we can talk about them. You know, this, like we said, Nationals will probably be the 5th best team in the East. You're 2 years away from that magical short season run that calling those younger guys up because of COVID. They had to make their debuts and stuff. But when technically you don't have none of the players that you traded Stanton for on your roster anymore because they just released the last guy. It's like, but you made some moves, No,
they did make some moves. I'm not saying they're not. They got a good young rotation. Sandy.
It's kind of curious, like what direction you're going to, because remember Jeter left.
Right. That's
because they said conflict of interest of they want to go a different route than what I wanted to.
Right, and that's what scared me. So that's why I kind of had him low because I was like, well, if Jeter doesn't have any confidence in what you're doing, and I know that you guys haven't been great the last couple of years, I'm just not buying into it.
Yeah,
that's all. But like I said, they do have a young rotation. They got Sandy Alcantara, who signed a 5-year, $56 million extension, so he's leading them. But then they got Rookie of the Year Trevor Rogers, runner-up Trevor Rogers. So that's not bad. And Pablo Lopez, they got some arms. I'm okay with that. But their bullpen needs help, and they need some bats too. So it's just like you have a squad. Like we get excited about young pitching squads, but at the same time we know that you're not tested yet.
Yeah, but adding players like Sawyer and Garcia, it kind of helps out for a little bit. But the reasons think there are better days in South Florida this year, but losing 95 games, you're like, we have to improve. And
that's what I'm saying. Have they improved enough to win that many games or not lose that many games, especially what the other guys in the division are doing? And you got to play them a lot. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just thinking, like, in terms of against your division and everybody else, what you've been doing does not sell me on you succeeding.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So makes sense. But like I said, I have them at 20. You have them at 24. So our 23 team, I have the Kansas City Royals.
23 Royals?
Yeah.
Let's see. 23. Yeah, 23 Royals. There
it
is.
They haven't been part of the big free agency, before the lockout or after the lockout, but that's their goal. They have a bunch of young talent that's going to be transitioned to major leagues. Of course, they have the number one prospect in Bobby Witt Jr.
He could break camp this year.
He is tearing up March. He had a good spring last year, and they hope to develop. He did good, and there's a good chance he's leaving the camp with the guy. Especially, you remember, there's 2 extra roster spots, so this makes it even and then the enticing of if you break with camp with one of your top prospects, you get extra draft picks. So if he's ready, like, why not?
Right. I like where they're going. It's not like this the worst thing because they got Whit Merrifield on the team, Salvador Perez. What he did last year.
Yeah.
If he can keep it up this year, they have a good shot. But that's just it. Can he keep it up this year? Because that was one of his best year ever.
Yeah.
And he's getting older. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a fluke. We really are going to find out this year. And also, Zach Greinke.
Yeah.
So
I think they brought Greinke in to be that veteran guy for these young guys, which they can learn from.
Absolutely.
And it comes full circles for him because that's where he started. It's kind of funny, but he's back, and I think it was a good signing to bring Greinke in there because with his veteranship, if he can help teach these young guys, Royals could be a year closer to compete than they thought.
They could be a dark horse for sure.
They could be.
The only thing that's stopping me right now is the young rotation. That's one of the big things.
Because he always those young question marks. Can they keep it up?
Right.
Something doesn't happen.
Which is why, like you said, why Greinke's there. But
yeah.
at the same, but it's stuff that we just don't know about. But I'm not saying I hate this team. I kind of like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know at this point.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, man.
All right. So 22, I have the Chicago Cubs.
Okay. 22. I have them at 21. So let's go talk to them.
So who's your 20?
The Guardians.
I have Guardians at 21.
Okay, so we'll talk about.
So we'll go Cubs and we'll talk Guardians next.
Okay, so Cubs, big thing.
Okay, they're coming off their 91 loss season after they dismantle that roster at the trade deadline. The search for the roster reinforcement to balance for the now and the future. They embark on a long rebuilding process, but they don't. They went a little shorter. So the vision, to make some moves. They added Stroman for 3 years to solidify the pitching rotation. they brought in the Japanese star, so
which I thought that was a good move.
So it's like, okay, so you're making some moves and you're hoping that some of these young guys come up quicker. So you're thinking maybe not this year, but next year could be
Absolutely.
it, is what they're kind of thinking. Maybe we can compete and then sign another free agent next year to maybe make us where we can compete in that more lousier division. Because if Brewers don't prove themselves this year, they have a good rotation, but then you guys start thinking about the Brewers, like, are they going to start dismantling, Yelich and their rotation? Because if they don't have bats, so you're thinking like, okay, we might be a year or two away from winning the division again.
And what made me hesitant was, they shipped away Baez, Rizzo, and now Bryant. But we thought, okay, you're going back into rebuild mode. But at the same time, they're like, well, we're going to go ahead and sign Suzuki and Marcus Stroman.
Yeah. Like,
so what are you doing here?
Stroman was like literally the last like hour of the before the lockout happened. Mm-hmm. So it was like, so my biggest thing was like when Stroman signed, I'm like, okay, what future did they show you? Because they didn't really make too much other moves. So I'm like, did they explain a future for you? Like what their game plan was? Because and then I was like, okay, it's only a 3-year deal. So it's not too bad because he can do 3 years, prove himself for 3 solid years, and go somewhere else. But I'm like, so they had to show something or talk something.
But even so, it's just it boggles my mind that you let all these players go. We're thinking rebuild, but then you sign 2 key players, Stroman and Suzuki. But at the same time, where's the rest of your production coming from? Because you don't have Hendricks anymore.
No.
You guys got some guys that aren't even making any excitement, like Wade Miley and Drew Smiley. and then after that, the only bat that I can even think of is Jonathan Villar. So
yeah, they signed him. Yep.
I'm just thinking, like, other than those guys.
Yeah,
I feel like you guys might be a 500 team.
Yeah, this might be that. Maybe we might make some noise if some young guys come up and help us, or we might just be a terrible team and rock the bottom and hope for next season. This is gonna be that weird year for the Cubs fans.
Right, we're going to find out quickly because they're going to have to get off to a quick start, I think.
Yeah, I think definitely.
I just not seeing where the production's coming from.
Yeah, same. So, like I said, I had them at 20. You had them at 21. And you had Guardians the other way. So, what is next for Jose Ramirez? The last piece that Cleveland Guardians, which is still weird to say, it's not the Indians no more, it's the Guardians. But will he choose to sign long-term, or will they see what kind of trade value he'll bring at the trade deadline?
Look, the Guardians, the best thing they got going for him and Ramirez is that he has the most friendly contract to the team. He's multiple years of control still. I don't know if he signs. Are you thinking they're going to offer him a long-term deal?
They want, extension, and then if not, then you're thinking if he, like you said, I think he has one more year after this year, correct?
Okay.
So you think about so if you trade him at the deadline, that's extra prospects because you have another year of control.
So this is all depending on what they do.
Yes.
I feel like the Guardians are in good shape. If you can get Ramirez on track, that's awesome for you guys because you also have Shane Bieber.
Yes.
And
remember,
he's
beast. Just 2 years removed from the Triple Crown in pitching.
Right, and he hasn't even.
And he had a terrible year last year. Well, I don't think terrible,
but he doesn't even have 4 years of MLB service yet. So he's a good guy on your team.
Yeah.
But
it's just
they're
so
just
many
not
questions.
Deep. They're not deep,
and especially with the Central. You're looking at the White Sox as probably the clear favorite yet again, but you see with the Royals, they're not far away from their young prospects, and you're just like, okay, so when do we pull the plug? Because we already trade Lindor, Cookie, and all these others. Like, is it time where we possibly do ship Beaver and Ramirez to do a full? Because if you trade Beaver with so much control, you're talking about high draft picks, or not draft picks, but prospects,
right? With
that much control left. But it's what is Guardians going to do? New name. Will that help the city? But is that you've shown that you're not willing to pay these guys. So it's like, what do you do? Do you need a new owner? Do they sell? Like, can you bring, and it just sucks from the 2016 team that, could have been.
I feel like it's just because they've been doing really well with a terrible payroll. Like they haven't been paying people, but they've been trying to do like a Moneyball kind of situation, I guess. Since
it's now time to pay.
I think so. Yes, that's where I think we're at.
Yeah, that's why I think Blue Jays in a couple of years is going to be like this. Like you have these stacked roster, but when it comes time to pay these players, you only can afford so many.
Absolutely.
And you got to make tough decisions.
But it's even tougher for the Blue Jays because they're in a division where you have to spend money. The Guardians necessarily they can get away with what they're doing, but they're at a point right now to where they need to spend some money. Or if they surprise us with these prospects that I don't know about that are going to kill it, that's fine. I just don't know if that's there.
Yeah, it's that time where do we need to pull the plug to go full rebuild again to start, or do we need to spend money to be a competitive team because we can be, a game away from winning the division, or hell, being a wild card team.
Right. I mean, they got a lot of guys that could step up that did produce. Like last year they had like a Cal Quantrill who did well, and they have like a rookie Quan, I believe, who could step up. It just depends on what are they going to do. We don't know. We don't know too much about them. If they can continue with what they did last year, and the rookies can produce, maybe they have something going for them.
Yeah, and of course they have our 2 former shortstops and Jimenez and Ahmed helping that team out. So
exactly. So if
everybody's
clicking,
they could make some noise.
Could make some noise for sure.
But in a weaker division, that's kind of helpful and stuff. So, all right. So next is number 20. I already told I had the Marlins. We already talked about them. So who's your 20?
Was that 20?
Yep.
Okay. Did I have 20? I think I got the Rangers here.
Okay, I'm not far off from Rangers. Where am I at? I'm at 19.
Okay.
So that's right. Because I'm like, where am I? I forgot. You had Tigers or something.
That's what I'm saying. We're getting all So
okay. So
can
Texas,
we do a quick run through what we had here?
All right. So
okay.
Okay. Let's see where we're at. Let's go all of course.
So we've already talked about
Orioles, Pirates, Diamondbacks, A's, Reds, Rockies, Nationals, Royals, Cubs, Guardians, and Marlins.
Okay.
And there's a team that you said, but I have them higher, which is the Detroit Tigers. But you have Texas at 20. I have them at 19, so we can definitely talk about them.
All right.
We talked about last week with spending $500 million on your middle infield that solidified your offseason surprise,
Yeah,
with
Seager and Simeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a lot. Was that $500 million for those guys?
Yeah, I think it was just under or just over 500. But losing 102 games, it's definitely you're not gonna lose 100 games with them two in the lineup, most likely.
But the issue is the rest of the team is pretty young. I think.
Yes, very young. So it's that raw talent, like we've been saying, like these teams who have a lot of young talent, like what are they going to be is the question. So Texas, they hope with adding these two guys, it kind of, I guess we'll say, speed track a year or two than what they thought they were going to be ready. So they said, okay, we could be ready with prospects in 3 to 4. We're hoping with adding these two, we're ready in 1 to 2 years. So I definitely, with that division, it's, Astros are on the way out. Unfortunately, Seattle, we showed that they were within a game of the playoffs last year. If the 12 teams were in this year, they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're looking, and then Angels, they cannot stay healthy to make the playoffs. Mm-mm. So it's like, okay, so what are they going to do? So you're looking at your division, like we could be a year or two away from being up there with Seattle if they continue with competing. Mm-hmm. And you're spending on these two guys, which, a World Series MVP and a runner-up from the MVP season last year. This could make some noise, but that pitching is what your question marks of those young guys. Right.
I like what they got going for them, though. I mean, they got Mitch Garver. They got him from Minnesota. They got a center fielder that could be good, Adolis Garcia. They got some other young guys. Calhoun is going to be their designated hitter. So they got some people there. What I'm excited to see is what if they get Jack Leiter up in there throwing
that. when they drafted him, I'm like, how long until we see this guy?
He's
at Vandy. He killed it.
He was a beast.
So I haven't really tracked to see if he's been sent to minor leagues yet from spring training, but I think I heard a lot of people like he was doing well. So it could be a mid-season if he doesn't break with camp.
But what I'm saying is, the Rangers got John Gray for 4 years, $56 million.
Yeah,
they missed out on Kershaw. And the only other exciting
person... I really thought they were going to do it because he's a Texas guy, but I guess, with the Dodgers, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
It wouldn't surprise me. I was like, I really thought that this could be a guy we can bring in to help our young guys.
But like I said, the only other guy that I'm excited about isn't even up yet, Jack Leiter. So my issue is they don't have any pitching.
Yeah.
Everything else looks promising, But you guys got to have pitching. So that's the only thing I have against them is I'm not sure if they can get it done.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Anything about Jack Leiter? Of course, he said both prospect. He pitched 1 1/3 innings, one of the games. So, yeah, I'm going to say he's probably not going to make the roster. Most likely, he'll probably sometime this year. But
it just depends, what they need to develop and what they're doing. I mean, if they think they can compete, he might come up.
The most ready pitcher last year's draft was him. So, if he needs just a couple months to get used to everything,
man, we need to get an update on the guys that the Mets drafted that year. What happened to that guy? They thought he threw too much. Remember, went to Vandy with Jack.
Oh, we didn't sign him, so technically we get an extra draft pick.
I know, but I just wonder what happened to him.
He gets a chance to be redrafted this year.
I hope he goes somewhere because I felt like I thought he was good, man.
A lot of people apparently said that they felt like he was going to end up being a bullpen guy. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I have to look him up later.
All right, so let's see. That was your 20, my 19. So who's your 19?
I have the Mariners.
Okay. They're a little higher on me. Yeah. Since missing the postseason last year, I have them definitely a little more higher, especially with the moves they made. I have them at 14.
Oh, okay.
So we can talk about them. The surprise of last season, we can say. And then the GM Jerry made some moves this offseason that helped that team. You haven't been in the postseason since 2001.
Right. And I absolutely understand why you have them higher because if we were going with exciting, their power ranking is pretty high with potential.
Yeah. When you bring in the defending Cy Young winner Robbie Ray to solidify your rotation and then trade for Adam Frazier, Yuri Suarez, and Jesse Winker.
Yeah, a
left-handed
makes your
bat
team
for the Reds. Most certain, especially with the added postseason spots, you're ready to make that run again for 2022 to have postseason baseball back in Seattle. Mm-hmm. We hope the guy, our former prospect that we traded, Kelnick, he had a little down year after being called up, but I feel like he can probably fix himself and do very well for Seattle and the rest of them. And, unfortunately, Seager was technically going to walk anyways, but he ended up retiring. But
right. I mean, so, they got a lot of prospects. Like you said, Jared Kelenic.
Yeah.
And also number 2 overall prospect, Julio Rodriguez in the outfield.
Which he should make the team sometime this year.
And then you got guys in rotation that are top prospects in the 100s like George Kirby and Matt Brash.
This is a team that's not going to go away anytime soon.
And they got Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing. I just think they're a year away.
You think they're a year away?
I think they could be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shutting them out. I'm not saying that they're Orioles. I'm saying this team, if everybody's clicking, this could be an exciting team to watch.
Yeah.
I just think they're a year off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're a year out.
Okay. But it's gonna be very exciting to see the Seattle, because what is it? Next season they had the All-Star game. I think they announced, right? Yeah, because this year's Dodgers. I think next year it's them, which that's a beautiful stadium up there in Seattle. But we'll see what they do. All right, so that was your 19, 18. I have a surprise team. Of course, this is right now.
Okay.
I have the Padres at 18.
Okay.
If you think about it, this talent has to compete for the NL West. But if you think about how it came undone last season, they finished closer to 4th place in the division than 2nd. They're starting the year without Tatis after the offseason injury. The health and the depth of the rotation is still a concern with people coming back from injuries and stuff. Of the 5 starters to begin last season with the Padres, only Joe Musgrove didn't spend time on the injured list.
Mm-hmm.
So that's this big question mark about this all-star rotation. Like, we saw their potential, like what they did on other teams the previous year. They just didn't live up to that team last year.
Yeah, it was so sick. I thought they were too, man.
We're like, okay, this is like, ooh, is it Dodgers or is it going to be Padres? And then Giants end up just like taking care of it, even though it came real close at the end. But and then Tatis hurt himself on the motorcycle accident. That's jeopardizing probably I think what people are saying 1 or 2 months of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So you're missing that bat, and then he's got to get back and swing of things. You're talking after All-Star break, he might be back to his old self.
Right. So that's the only issue that I have with him. I actually had him at my 14.
Okay.
But the issue that I had with him is that, like you said, Tatis being hurt. That is my biggest thing because that is your whole team almost. I mean, Manny Machado's been doing great. He's reignited himself since he was an Oriole. He's been doing great there.
Yeah.
You got Jake Cronenworth, who's one of the better second basemen right now, and then they also got Luke Voigt.
Yeah.
So they're doing stuff.
They are, and like it's just that rotation. Like, Clevenger should be back this year or sometime this year after his injuries.
But
Blake Snell injured.
Blake Snell and Yu Darvish though. I mean,
or have injuries last year. So it's like, who are they so far this season? So,
like I said, but if you look at it, their team is great. We need on paper.
Yeah,
on paper they're
great. You show names.
Yes,
you're like this is almost an all-star team.
That's what I'm saying. So if Tatis comes back, I don't know when he's coming back, but they need him to make a run. But other than that, if Yu Darvish and Blake Snell do what they can, and Mike Clevenger's back from Tommy John, there's some trouble there.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, but like as of right now, walking into the season, they're not looking like a strong team.
I feel you.
So of course, throughout the season, they're probably going to be higher, making a late run into one of those wild card spots. But right now, it's looking a little. But with Bob Melvin there at the helm, I think he can figure something out with that team, especially that rotation.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. That was my 18. You have him up at 14. So who was your 18?
I got the Angels.
Okay. I don't think I'm far off. I'm at 16.
Okay.
So all right. So that is your 18. So let's talk about the Angels.
I feel like I missed a team somewhere.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So the Angels, we love them and we hate them. We hate them because they can't ever make a freaking playoff appearance.
Yeah.
But I love them because Mike Trout plays for them.
Yeah.
Not only does that, reigning MVP Shohei Ohtani plays for them. And we also have the third baseman they got a couple years ago, Rendon.
Yeah.
Like, they got some players.
Yeah.
It's just like, when do we start seeing it? And guess what else we saw? Syndergaard.
Yeah.
They got Syndergaard. They're doing stuff. Well, I mean, what do you like about them?
So, Mike Trout and the Angels haven't made the postseason since 2014. Will this finally be the year they break through? Can Noah and Michael Rosina prove to boost their rotation? Angels build the back end of their bullpen, which has strength to their team, but it's plenty star power if they have a healthy Trout and Ohtani. And, of course, Rendon. I want them to be in the postseason. Mike Trout needs to be in the postseason.
I agree.
This is the thing where I thought he could have possibly walked after that season instead of signing an extension. You want to play October baseball. I understand loyalty to the team, but you want to be in those important games.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking about Ohtani is a couple years away from being a free agent again to hit that open market. If he repeats this year, what is the asking price going to be for him when he hits the open market?
Oh, it's going to be redonkulous. You're going to be paying a lot.
Yeah. But, if we can get a healthy Trout and Ohtani, in that lineup, and they
have Jared Walsh, who's been really awesome as well. And Rendon. Yeah.
Rendon, this is a very potential lineup. And we always said pitching in the past for them. They added 2 guys this year with, on short-term deals. But remember, what was it, last year, the year before? I think it was last year. Out of their 19 draft or 20 draft picks, 19 were pitchers. They went heavy pitchers because they know that's what they needed.
But the issue is these guys need to be ready now.
Yes.
We don't have much time left in to get to the show or even get to the postseason. They need to get to the postseason this year, without a doubt, and then build on that next year.
Yeah, I was really surprised they didn't get Gausman that ended up going to the Blue Jays. I thought that would be a pitcher they'd go for one of the aces. And I really thought they were going to make a run at Max Scherzer. It's like
they should have.
I really thought but apparently he didn't want to play on the West Coast or something like that. But worked out for us. But they needed that ace kind of guy. Can Syndergaard be it? Yes. But last 2 years of injury, that's why I was really surprised that they offered him $21 million. I thought the qualifying offer for the Mets would have been perfect. Because, okay, you get a year to prove yourself like Stroman did, and then you can get your multi-year deal afterwards.
Right.
But, hey, when you get, 3 more than the qualifying offer for a 1-year tryout to go to L.A., why not?
Right, and I don't know if they have a solid ace. I mean, Ohtani's been pitching better than he did last year, but I don't even think they want him to be their ace. They want him to be a 2 or 3 guy, and I feel like Syndergaard is a 2 or 3 guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the ace. And the other guys they got is Sandoval and Suarez, I think. And those guys, they just need to get 6 out of him. So they need somebody who can be
right now.
Shut him down.
I don't think they have an ace.
That's what I'm saying. So as much as I love Syndergaard, and I understand that Ohtani can't be that ace because he's got so much going on his plate, you guys need somebody in there there who's shut down, lights out. Let's get on and let's do this. That's what they're missing, in my opinion. I think, like you said, the bats are there.
Yeah.
They could be there.
If it was before Syndergaard got hurt, Syndergaard was training to be an ace.
Absolutely.
But because the last 2 years being injured, you have questions. Can he be that ace, that guy that goes out every 5 days?
And if he goes out and proves it to me, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing lights out stuff from him right now, I don't think.
So it's going to be a very interesting year for the Angels. And, we hope for the best because we want to see the greatest player, and especially if we
the greatest duo, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, if we get Trout and Ohtani, and just imagine Ohtani pitching in a playoff game and then staying in the DH and hits a bomb like to go ahead or something after already been pulled.
Yeah.
That's like stuff you don't think about.
Right. And to see them clicking on all cylinders with a healthy Trout as well, now you're talking. But we're missing pitching, I still think.
Yeah.
I don't know how their bullpen is. I haven't looked too deep into that, but I know for a fact that their starting pitching needs some help.
Yeah. All right. So that was your 18. That was my 16. So 17. I have the Minnesota Twins.
I have the Phillies.
Phillies. Okay. So for me, let's see. Where do I have Phillies? Phillies. I have them at 13.
All right.
So let's see. We can go. Where do you have the Twins?
Right after Phillies. I got them real close.
Okay, so we'll just start with Twins, then we'll go to Philly.
Okay. So all right.
Twins.
So the Twins.
Man, when you sign the number one, free agent, a little late because this offseason has been weird, but Carlos Correa, after trading people away last year, you made a bunch of moves, and then you got Correa. It's like, okay, you're doing stuff, but when you sign Carlos Correa and Gio Urshela will be featured the retooled left side of the infield, and then you add Sonny Gray to the rotation, Gary Sanchez behind the plate. You add new face to the battery. The Twins are part of a tougher American League Central on paper, but will the offseason deals help this team keep pace and in the postseason hunt?
Well, let's not forget, they also have Byron Buxton.
Yes.
So with everything you're telling me, yes, I should have them higher on my list. However, they have a below average pitching staff, in my opinion. That's what I'm big on pitching.
Trade Burrow, Burrow to the Blue Jays last year and kept him, and then add all this, I've been a little comfortable with that rotation.
Right.
But losing him and Sonny Gray has been inconsistent.
That's what I'm saying. Not saying I don't dislike Sonny Gray, but you guys are trying to be like the Yankees right now. You're trying to have your bats talk for you, but that's not what's going to happen here in Cincinnati. You need pitching. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I just feel like these guys, they look great. They're exciting for right now, but somebody's got to come in here and throw the ball. And you got to show potential to keep Correa there. Absolutely. He has opt-outs after both first 2 years. But with him being signed and them showing us that they are willing to do what it needs to take, I feel like they are going to go find themselves some pitching somewhere. Yeah. And it could be a contender. But as of right now, the way it stands here, you guys need a little bit more. Yeah. And like I said, we need Gary Sanchez to step up again. If you're in that contention come All-Star break, the trade deadline, then you're going to make a move to get some pitching. Right. I think they're not going to be the only ones. No. I feel like the Angels are going to be there too. Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, definitely that. But as of right now. But we saw that adding Herrera, that was huge. They sold 100,000 tickets. Yeah, that was week huge. After signing him. This came out left field. Like first you heard about maybe back to Astros, then you heard a little rumbling about the Orioles. I'm like, okay, it makes a little sense. They need a star, and they've been cheap, so they probably have a bunch of money. But I'm like, but then Twins overnight out of nowhere, it's like, wow, okay. But in a semi weaker division, we've seen that they've made moves. 2020 when 3 teams made that postseason, but they all lost in the first round. But can they do it again? It's like they could. So, all right. So let's see. That was my 17, right? I believe it was. Yeah, and you said Phillies were your 17. Yes. You have the Twins were right. I had the Twins at 16. 16. 16. I had the Angels. And I already had the Angels. Okay. This was confusing. Yeah. All right. So we need to talk about the Phillies. We can talk about the Phillies, or we can talk about the team that you already discussed that I had at number 15. Yeah, okay. Who's that? The Detroit Tigers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can talk about Tigers again. So why do you have them so high up, especially after last year? What were they, probably 32nd? When you add Baez and catcher Chuckle Barnhart to give the Tigers a new look, and then Michael
Pineda, and then adding, Rodo Rodriguez as, add some depth to that Detroit mound with Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, getting some new blood to that lineup. Detroit could be a team to watch for that, and a flagger-gassing, American League Central. You think what the manager did with Houston Astros. They added a couple guys this year. They have some young guys, former top, number one pick. What's his name that they drafted? I'm drawing a blank because I'm supposed to put him in here, but a lot of young guys can be making their debut, and you have Miggy, have that veteran guy that this could be making some noise. Could be the runner up in that Central division. We'll see what the Twins do, and the Guardians and the Royals, but you feel like you're looking at all these teams, especially after the White Sox. There's a lot of teams with possible, especially Royals, Tigers, and then Twins kind of retooling. But if a lot of these two, especially Royals and Tigers, have a bunch of young guys that could make some noise. That could. We've been saying a lot, but Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green, and then adding a veteran like Rodriguez could help that rotation very well. And then Baez, was pretty good after getting traded from the Cubs. So it could be, that new light, the fire, to help Miggy, finish his career's next, year or two, depends on when he decides to retire.
Yeah, soon, I think
he only has this year and next year left on the contract. But,
well, with the DH spot, there might be a spot for him.
It could be, but not $30 million for what he's been putting up.
No. He's been kind of a little downhill.
But yeah, that's kind of why I like the Tigers. I feel like they, with the moves they made, they can make that next step, could possibly compete a little more. And then Guardians, too much question marks. Twins, they added a bunch of guys, but Gary Sanchez is not a defensive catcher. He can hit the ball.
No, he's a hitter.
So if your pitchers for during Sanchez is a little wild, he's going to be dropping balls and stuff a lot. So that's why I feel like I like the Tigers a little better. That's why I think I have them at 15.
Okay.
So then you want to talk about Phillies. So you have them at 17.
Right. Where did you have them?
I have them at 13.
Okay. Well, we can hold off if you
No,
want.
we can talk.
Okay.
Because I actually have no more teams because we were talking about the Seattle Marlins because I had them at 14. We just talked about Tigers. So Philly, I
actually like what they're doing.
They told Bryce, they're going to spend money.
Yeah.
Well, they went out and got Nick and Kyle Schwarber, like we talked about last week.
Huge.
Great bats. Huge. Defensive gloves, a little suspect. But bats, they can do it.
They more than make up for it with the bats. I mean, those guys are about 30 home runs each, so those are good bats. But like you said, they might not be the best defensively.
Yeah.
But
the biggest question mark for the Phillies, the bullpen.
Absolutely.
Last 2 years have been one of the, if not the worst bullpen in MLB. So they retooled. They added Familia, question marks. Brad Hand, which had an up and down season last year, and then Corey Nebel. So you addressed it with hopefully some moves that could help. So is it enough to compete with the New York Mets and Atlanta Braves in that division?
Maybe. The only issue I have is, the rotation. Zach Wheeler's their ace, right?
Well, you probably say Zach is number 2, but you think he
Aaron
probably
Nola?
could be number 1. Aaron Nola, I think, is technically still their ace.
Well, either way, I like
those two guys.
I do like those guys.
But it's that 3, 4, 5 guys, which
Right.
these are younger question marks. Can they step up to help these two guys out?
Right. The good news is that they have addressed their bullpen.
Yes.
They know that that's what they needed help with, and they got it. But like you said, 3, 4, 5. These are big time players that make a difference. Where are they at?
Yeah. So when you add those two guys, with everything they did, they're now a little bit over the tax threshold, just a little bit. So that's showing Bryce Harper they're still committed to add a team. But when you, like he said yourself, but when you see what the Mets and Braves do, you need to do something to be competitive.
Right. And one thing I do, if you guys don't know, I hate the Phillies. But one thing I do like what they're doing is that they've made up with their bats with Schwarber and Castellanos. And I like that because that with Harper might be enough to get through this. As long as you got a couple of guys that can get you to the pen within a situation to win.
I would like the team more because it's come down where they're trying to get Trevor Story. at shortstop, which they need a really good, better shortstop. They added that, then that would have been a very interesting where we're looking at our top 3 teams in our division like, oh.
But at the same time, if that's the case, I feel like they all are going to have to just keep hitting.
Yeah.
Because the defense isn't necessarily there.
Yeah.
And I don't think the guys can just like lights out, strike you out. Not 3, 4, and 5 anyways.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they're going to use Nick and Kyle. Like, how much of who's going to be playing more outfield more? Are there going to be 50-50 between outfield and DH? It's going to be very interesting to see what Joe Girardi does in that situation.
But I still think they got a chance, man, because like you said, I expect them to get W's most of the time. Wheeler and Nola are out there. And the other guys, they just got to get, keep
it wouldn't be
consistent.
surprise me if all Phillies, Braves, and Mets all make the postseason from that division.
Mm-hmm.
But when you face each other so much, who knows what that's going to affect.
Right.
All right, so that was your 16, I believe.
Yes, Philly.
All right, so who's your 15? Did we talk about them already?
I don't remember. I think I had the Padres at 14.
Okay, yeah, who you talked about because I had them a little lower.
So
14.
Did I have the Twins? I think you had you had them
lower. All right,
so we talked about the Twins.
All right, 13.
All right, where are we at? So we already talked about the Padres.
Yep.
We talked about the Twins. I like the Cardinals.
Okay. So where am I off? So I'm not far away. I have them at 12.
Oh, okay. So we're right there.
Yeah, so I think we're caught up now.
I don't know if we're caught up, man. I feel like I'm missing someone. All right.
No, I don't think so. Because I'm looking at my rest of my top 12. We have not talked about any of these yet.
Okay.
So I think we're all caught up now.
All right. So I got the Cardinals, and you got them
at 12.
one spot up.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously, we like what they're doing, and especially since we had them there before Pujols got signed.
Yeah.
I like Pujols.
St. Louis is starting the season with, unfortunately, some injuries at pitching. In front of that, you're going through the Cardinals fans to watch. The Cardinals made it to the wild card game last year, but unfortunately, quick exit in LA to the Dodgers. The roster remains from last season mostly intact. The biggest offseason concern is offseason signing is Steven Matz, and then the battle between St. Louis and Milwaukee for the Central could be one of the best races within any division. But now with losing Jack Flaherty through injury, so it's like that rotation is now weaker. This is first year for the new manager. Pujols is now there for your DH, and but when you have 5 Gold Glove winners from last season, remember they were golded up.
That's what I'm saying. These guys are defensive as fuck.
Yes,
you got 7 of those guys are possibly front runners for the Gold Glove in 2022. So they got the defense.
Yeah,
that's not even an issue.
Like they're the Golden Cardinals. You could call them that because
fact.
I remember when that list I was like Cardinal. Good God, Cardinal. And of course, when they said this is the first time most Gold Glovers in one season, I'm like, yeah, I believe it.
Look, aside from the pitcher, everybody up there could be a Gold Glove runner-up. And the only reason that there's, they're saying 7 out of 8 is because that other spot is shortstop that was split between 2 guys.
Yeah.
So everybody up there is good.
Yeah.
Really good. They had Tyler O'Neill who broke out last season. Bader did well. They got guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a solid DH situation, but that's not a big issue. Anybody can fill that in.
Yeah, but now with bringing Pujols in to be majority of your DH kind of guy, most likely.
And get him with Yadier Molina as veterans to hold it down.
To help these other younger guys coming up, and you had, runner-up, Rookie of the Year, and Dylan. So you have some moves. It's just that pitching rotation with losing Jack and stuff. And
Jack Flaherty, who we think is going to be great, is out dealing with a shoulder issue. But then you also have Adam Wainwright, and he's one of the older guys.
Yeah.
He's like a Tom Brady out here.
So, he came back. So it wouldn't surprise me if he walks away with Yachty and Pujols after the season.
Well, the other thing that they have addressed some of their pitching is they got Matz. They went out and got Matz for a 4-year deal.
Matz was looking like he was going to come back to the Mets after being traded last season, but ended up going to the Cardinals. Cardinals, I think, needed it. Unfortunately, it sucked when we lost out because he had a decent year with Blue Jays last year, but this is his first free agent, being able to choose where he wants. So, Matz is a solid, we'll say 3.
Absolutely. So with their issues with the pitching mound, since Jack Flaherty's dealing with his shoulder, they're going to have to call up Matthew Liberatore. He's one of the prospects, and he's supposed to be really good. But they're going to have to rely on these young guys. That's the issue they have. Other than that, man, this team is pretty solid.
Yeah.
But it feels like the last couple of teams we talked about all have pitching issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not great.
Yeah, like when we get more into these playoff teams we're talking about, like MLB released their top 10 rotations today. You looked at all of them, they're all the playoff teams that's favored. So, like, we're creeping into these top 12 teams. This is where, like, yes, on paper, these should be the better rotation. Like, Cardinals should be close to that top 10, but because Flaherty's not in there, fortunately, they're on the outside looking in. That's why you have them at 13 right now. I have them just making it at 12 because they did make the postseason last year, even though there's more teams this year. I think with the injuries coming back, they should be right in the mix, especially competing with the Brewers for that division. So I have them at 12. You have them at 13. So who's your 12th team?
The next team on mine is the Red Sox.
Wow. Okay.
Well, that division is tough, man, and I still, for some reason, believe in the Yanks.
Okay.
How far up do you have them?
I have them pretty far up.
All right, well, then let's not touch base on that.
All right, so we're going to number 11. Number 11 for me was the most other surprise team is the San Francisco Giants.
That's where I got them.
Yeah, the biggest surprise team winning franchise record, 107 games, capturing the National League West over the Dodgers. The new rotation is going to be very question marks with Alex Cobb and Carlos Rendon and the new backstop, Joey Bart with, Buster Posey retiring. And Jock Peterson getting signed for the, to add a little bit of the Dodgers-Giants rivalry. He's brought in good luck. You think about it. He's won a World Series ring the last 2 years. So if he keeps the tradition, Giants, we have a chance. He's brought two rings, but, it's going to be very interesting. Losing, Gausman as your kind of ace, like, yes, Carlos Rendon revitalized his career last year with the White Sox after, those injured years, re-signing with them for 1 year. And, man, he looked good. So it's like you're hoping between Alex and him to kind of replace. And then now Joey is the full-time catcher with Busty leaving. So you have question marks of that. But how much of this veteran kind of team can do it again compared to last year?
You know what, man? I felt like last year I counted them out. I was like, I didn't even know what you
I think I had them at third in the division because between you looked at Dodgers and Padres last season,
right.
And you're like, this is the third best team in the division,
right? And what they did with Mike Yaz,
all of them,
it's like a bunch of people like we weren't even thinking about, and all of a sudden these guys are winning 100 games basically. Right?
Yeah, it came down to of course the last day to clinch the division, but
I felt like you got to give these guys respect.
Yeah, I feel like with 12 teams in the postseason this year, they'll make it back.
Right.
It's just a question mark, like how much of a deeper run can they do again with that pitch?
Right. The only issue I have is they lost Posey.
Yep.
They did sign Jock Peterson, so that's good.
Yeah.
That kind of makes up for things. So I don't know if the catcher really needs to make up a big issue because the catcher that's going to have to fill the spot is probably one of their prospects.
It's Joey Bart. Joey Bart
right.
showed promise, when Buster sat out 2020, COVID, he decided not to play, and he showed promise. He has a great bat and great defensively, so now this is your team now. And can he step up?
And what I really do like about them is they went out and got a lefty, Carlos Rodon. Their rest of their staff is pretty solid with Logan Webb, Discalfanti, Alex Wood, Alex Cobb. So I like their pitching.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against that. And like you said,
a lot of veterans.
What they did last year should be nothing short of amazing because the division they're in, come on, man. And they got some guys that we like a lot. Like, their bench is pretty deep.
Yeah.
They got Wilmer Flores. I like him a lot. They got Estrada and Slater. So I don't know. What do you think they need to make a big push?
A deep run? Really, it's just the veteran, all the veteran guys between the batters and the rotation. If they can full their potential, I can think they can make another run. I feel like they're, like I said, I feel like their pitching's good. I like the signings they have with the bats. It's just I want to see what that veteran roster can put up for 162.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like they're deep. Yeah. So I like them. If anything, just because the division they're in is so tough, maybe a wild card would be in their
it's just
future,
unfortunate how well they did do last year.
But we expanded to 12.
Yeah.
So I think they got a good shot,
Yeah,
man.
I have a good shot going back to the postseason. It's just
Getting over the hump to getting to the show.
it's just
don't
expect another 107 game win season.
Right.
A good season for you is going to be in the 90s. I feel like. All right, so that was my number 11. You're 12. So who's your 11?
My 11. That was, hold on. You had the Giants at what? 11.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I say I had them? Oh, we both had them 11. We both had the Giants.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at 10.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, hold up. Who do you got?
I have the Houston Astros.
I have the Brew Crew.
All right, I'm not far off. I'm at number 9 with them.
And I'm so we're
swapped.
We're
okay.
swapped.
Let's go straight to the Astros. Losing Carlos Correa at the beginning. It started last year with losing George Springer.
Okay.
The next season you lose Correa, but still, there's enough firepower in that Houston lineup to make another run in that American League West. Verlander's returning from the mound, which he's looking promising in the spring.
Yeah.
They did win 95 games last year. They still have something to prove.
I'm still not sold on Verlander, by the way, because he's been 2 years removed, basically.
Yeah.
And he's old.
A shortened season, and
right.
they finally get the surgery at the very end of 2020, so he missed 2021.
And they got McCullers, another pitcher.
And then you lost
who's
Greinke.
working back.
So
right.
It's the rotation.
The only thing they lost is a shortstop, basically. Is what
shortstop, and then a number 3 pitcher with Greinke.
But just think about it. They
have enough young pitching that can replace them.
Right. And the guys, they also, let's not forget, they have Jose Altuve, Bregman, Julio Gurriel.
Yeah.
And they got some young guys, Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah. If Alvarez can put in a full season like his rookie year for them, that is a very dangerous MVP candidate. And especially Alex Bregman is always a preseason MVP candidate because if he can step up, which he could be, they could be right in it
Absolutely.
yet again.
And like we said, the biggest loss was Carlos Correa left.
Yeah.
But they're pretty bullish on on Jeremy Pena. They think he could be to fill the gap. So I like what they're doing because every year I count them out, and for some reason they keep showing up.
Remember, they were in the World Series last year. They lost to the Braves in 6.
So I have a good feeling that they could easily show back up. I don't know.
Yeah. And, it wouldn't surprise me. For some reason, they find a way to be a so-so baseball team, and then come September, they do enough where they make the postseason, and then they just become a different animal in October. It wouldn't surprise me to do it again. It wouldn't. So, all right. So, I have them at 10. You have them at 9. You have Brewers at 9, and I have them at 9. You have them at 10.
Yep.
Milwaukee, you can arguably say they have the second best rotation in baseball.
You can
right
arguably
now.
say they have the best. It's up for debate.
Yeah, it is very up for debate. But when much like Houston, Milwaukee's lineup is somewhat familiar. But you added Andrew McCutchen as a free agent, so you trade for Hunter Renfroe and transition the batting order and outfield, and you're hoping that your former MVP, Christian Yelich, can get back to his old self, and then you had the defending Cy Young winner. So you have all these things that you're going to be the favorite in the Central most likely. So it's like your time is running out in the Brewers, like we just talked about a little bit ago.
Look, man, I like what's going on here.
Yeah,
I do feel like they could possibly have one of the best rotations because if you think about it, man, they got a guy, Freddie Peralta. He makes people hit soft contact balls, and then you got a fire thrower, Woodruff. And then you got the Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns on the team, and you got a couple of nice lefties. So they got a little bit of everything for you. So you're not going to see you're not going to see a whole rotation of guys just throwing 100 miles an hour down the middle. You're going to see guys are throwing you stuff, and you're going to have to think about what you're doing. So they're going to keep you on your toes the whole time. And then their bullpen, they got Josh Hader.
Yeah,
I like that guy a lot.
I do too.
I feel like they're good, man. And
they're good, yeah.
And they picked up what did they get? Hunter Renfroe
and McCutchen.
McCutchen, yeah. So you put that with Yelich, we might have something here, but McCutchen's got to show up. He has been a little off.
Yeah, he's definitely not his MVP all-star self, but
I like this. I would like to watch these games. Yeah.
The only weird thing for me for the Brewers is that their stadium is not going to be Miller Park no more. They got new names. That's weird. It's like it's always been Miller Park. It's like when these certain names are changing, but I do like the Brewers. I like what they're doing.
I really do.
And I think their time is running out. they have maybe 1 to 2 years left
Mm-hmm.
before they're going to have to start thinking, is it time to rebuild? What are we doing? Because you only have so many time before these guys start getting paid, or these guys are getting too old, like Kane, So it's like we only have so much more with these guys. So we'll see what they do. I really hope the best. I think they're going to be my central picks, but they're going to make the playoffs. Is how much deep run can they make?
Exactly.
All right, so that was your 10, my 9. So we're at number 8. Sorry, Yankees fans. I have it at 8.
There it is. Yep, we both got you guys down there.
So,
you fooled me once.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
Adding Josh Donaldson and Easy Kingler will give Yankees a new look. But there's plenty of outfield wondering why the Yankees didn't do much more this offseason like we talked about. You looked at what the Red Sox did, the Blue Jays did. You're like, do we have enough firepower and pitching to keep up with these East rivals? That's the biggest question mark.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Yankees are talented. They spend enough money to be talented. But the question is, can they actually get it done? Like what's going on, Yankees? Every year we think you guys are solid on paper, but for some reason you just can't get there. Whether it's like, I don't know, everybody's always injury prone. Like I feel like if Judge is healthy, then Stanton's not. If Stanton's healthy, Judge isn't. It's just like these two guys need to be up there together.
Yeah, because when they are together, they can make damage. It's just unfortunately, it's like you said, they're missing too many games either or.
Right, and I feel like I don't know if they get the best people in the world because I feel like they're getting some of these guys at the end of their time.
Yeah, and then they brought back Rizzo, and they shipped out Luke Voigt to the Padres,
right,
for a pitching prospect, which a lot of people do like, which that could help the Yankees at the end, but.
And they got rid of Sanchez and Urshela, but they did get Josh Donaldson.
Yeah.
And I think they got they got a catcher and a shortstop, but I don't even know. I don't even know the catcher. Who's that? Ben Rochvet. I don't know who that is. So I'm not sure if he's going to be good or not.
He's a better defensive catcher than so. Pretty much, you're saying I have 1 through 8 that can hit bombs. My catcher needs to be defensive to make sure we don't give up runs. I think that's what the approach they took.
Okay. Well, and it's not the most terrible news in the world because you do have a DH spot now.
Yeah.
The highlight is they have Garrett Cole still. He's beast. But they also have. I don't know. I just feel like. Is it pitching with these guys again? Like they're all about the slugfest. Every single time the Yankees rely on the long ball to win games, and I just don't know how good that is these days.
They have some young guys. It's just. They didn't compete for pitching last year, so you're hoping that they learn from their mistakes, they make that next step this season, and they can make another run. Or you're talking about,
but that's it for me. So my main concern is you guys are built to hit.
Yep.
If you guys don't hit, you're not winning games.
No.
So that's my only issue is that these guys need to rely on scoring like 5 or more runs. I just don't know if you can keep up with that the whole year.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you guys are healthy, now we got something to talk about. If Stanton's healthy, Judge is healthy, everybody's doing their job, everything's good. But if not, you guys have other teams in your division who are stepping up, and they're not scared to show you.
No. All right. So at number 7, who you got?
Number 7. Did I have we already talked about the Giants.
Yep.
Or did I have them? Or did you have them lower? I felt like I had the Giants up here.
I had the Giants at 11. So maybe it's where you have them.
Maybe I had the Giants a little higher, and we already talked about them.
Okay, so you have them at 7. My 7 team is the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my 6. So
okay.
we're really close here.
Okay. So the Chicago White Sox ran away with that Central Division last year, winning 93 games before getting, bowed out to Houston in the American League Division Series. But additions of Kendall Graveman, Joe Kelly, will boost that already strong bullpen that when they traded for Craig Kimbrell last year. It's another reason why there's another strong season from the South Side of Chicago is expected. All that young talent is like, and that pitching staff is top tier. So it's like, this is it. Like you are years away from potential. And I had them as my World Series pick last year. Unfortunately, they didn't do it. Can they make another run to prove me right this year?
I think they can. I mean, all their weapons are good to go. Now we just got to see what they can do. If they can bring it together for a whole season, I think that's all we need. I mean, they've added people to their bullpen. They got Joe Kelly.
Yep.
They got Kendall Graveman. They got Michael Kopech.
Yeah, and I think Kopech will hopefully be, I think, 2 years removed from the surgery and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he'll be back in the rotation this year. I think that's what I've been hearing, either 4 or 5 starters. So we know what he can do. So hopefully that would help them out. I like this team a lot.
I do too, man.
The biggest question mark last year was when they brought back the manager. Everyone thought will they match? Yeah. And they did well and clearly won that division, but unfortunately they got, I think, 5 games. They lost to end up being the AL champions, the Astros. So
yeah, man, I feel like the White Sox have been building their team up slowly the last couple of years, and it's just been looking better and better. So I don't think there's any reason to think that they can't get it done.
No, I don't think so either.
It just comes down to who's hot. But as far as I'm concerned, the White Sox are the team in Chicago to worry about.
Yep, definitely not the Cubs. So let's see. That was my 7. You had the Giants at 7.
Yes.
All right.
So
we're at 6.
6. I have the Rays.
That's who I got too.
Okay.
When Wander Franco comes up mid towards the end of season and still finishes 3rd in the Rookie of the Year, and your first ever extension long term, the hunt of top series 1 of this year, everyone wants that rookie card. The Rays won 100 games last season.
Mm-hmm.
They got the number 1 seed for the 2nd year in a row. Once again, this is one of the top powers in the AL when the postseason rolls around.
Yeah, man. I feel like what they did last year was insane. They got Wander Franco to an 11-year deal worth of almost $200 million.
So now you got a full year of him.
Right, which tells me that you could possibly get a 100-game win season this year. I don't see why not. I mean, their catchers and all-stars, they got the Rookie of the Year last year, Randy Arozarena.
Yeah.
Brandon Lowe showed up. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like the team looks good. Tyler Glasnow.
They have and Glasnow coming back from injury.
Exactly.
So,
so they should be better.
You have the other prospect from, like I said, the Chris Archer trade. I feel like it's Shane.
They have a bunch. They have all-stars in the bullpen. The bullpen's there. So the pitching is there. The team is solid. And
it's the analytics. They're really deep with that.
They know what they're doing.
So can they do it for 3 years in a row?
Right, and that's the big question. The big question is, you're talented. Is that enough to carry you through the AL East, which I've been saying is one of the toughest divisions, period?
I think it's the toughest. When you have the Yankees, as a number 8 overall for MLB, but possibly the 4th best team in the division, that says something. That, unfortunately, you might be a top-tier team, but you might miss the playoffs. But, Rays, it's hard to look at them that, seeing what the Blue Jays did this offseason and what the Red Sox are doing, and you see what the Yankees still are that team.
Mm-hmm.
How many games can you beat them? That's the biggest question to, be in front of them. Yes, you have to face the other AL team, but, with all these injuries coming back from last year, I like this team still. But I don't know if they'll be the number 1 seed yet again. I feel like they'll make the playoffs. They won't be that top seed. They have home field advantage.
But you definitely can't count them out.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, that's the one thing I do know.
All right, we're in the top 5. So my number 5 is one that you had lower on your list.
Yeah.
I have the Boston Red Sox at 5.
Okay, and that's fair.
So, when they signed all-star shortstop Trevor Story to play second base, is one of the biggest and most interesting moves for the Red Sox all season. He and Xander Bogaerts should be one of the most exciting double-play combinations in baseball. If James Paxton, Rich Hill, Michael Walker can fulfill their promise of the rotation, Boston can be one of the teams to beat when October comes around. That's how I feel about them. They have, that young infield, just like we can say about the Blue Jays and everyone else. It's, unfortunately now with Chris Sale possibly might be missing time, that sets them back a little bit, I think. I haven't got fully details. I haven't really looked into it. But, Red Sox were very close from making that deep run again. They beat the Rays last year in the postseason. They were the Walker team, so they beat the Yankees, faced the Rays, knocked them off. And then the Astros, they were very close competing to going back to the World Series. I'm like, oh God, here we go again. The Red Sox yet again. But unfortunately, Astros push on. So with adding Travis Story and other stuff, I think they can make that next step. Can they do it for a full season? Questions can tell. You have them lower, I have them higher. I really like them. I really like the Trevor Story signing to help. But
yeah,
Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, I think, they're coming towards the end of their contract. So the win now mentality is there for the Red Sox before you have to either pay these guys or let them walk.
All right. So who do we have left that we haven't talked about? We have 4 or 5.
So you have your 5th.
Yes.
Which I'm trying to figure out who I haven't talked about that's not higher from my rotation. So who's your 5?
I have the Braves.
Okay.
So who haven't we talked about?
So we haven't talked about the Mets, Braves, Blue Jays, or Dodgers. I feel like that's all we have not talked about.
So that's only 4.
So who else you got on your list?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I said. I thought we might have lost somebody back there in translation.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I have Braves. This is what's left on my list. Braves. I'm going to just tell you the 4 teams. I'm not going to put them in any order. Braves, Mets, Dodgers, Blue Jays. That's not in any order, though.
Dodgers, Braves, Blue Jays, Mets. Yeah. That's all I got left we haven't talked about.
Okay. Well, then. Okay. All right. Well, then this must be number 4.
So, yeah. So you have Braves at 5.
Well, not now because I don't know who we didn't talk about. See, we need to start writing down what we have because when we start talking about 2 teams at one time, it gets thrown out.
I don't think so. Maybe because we talked about Padres early for me and it kind of threw you off. I don't know, but
Maybe.
we're caught up. But okay, so top 4.
So top 4 then. I have Braves as my next team.
All right, so you have Braves at 4. All right, I have them at 3. I have to give respect to the defending World Series champions. With adding Matt Olson to replace Freddie Freeman, Kenley Jansen to take the back in the rotation. Atlanta comes in 2022 looking every bit like the team they could repeat as World Series champions. But we all know it's very hard to do since no one has done it since the Yankees did it back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And the biggest thing, if you think about their postseason run, which still it baffles me if you think about it.
Me too, bud.
Acuna did not play because remember, there towards the middle of the season, he lost.
We wrote him off. We wrote him off after that.
But they made those perfect trade deadline moves that send them to make a deep run, and it worked out for them. So with it bringing Acuna back, adding Matt Olson and stuff, this is a very young team still that's in a lot of team friendly deals where they can make another run. If they need something, they can go out and make that trade deadline.
They could.
So it's and then that young rotation, very dangerous. Yes, they don't have the veteran, but these are these could be the future of pitching that we could talk about in a couple of years of the Cy Young winners. Besides, Charlie Morton is that veteran in that rotation, but Soroka.
If Soroka can be healthy, he's projected to return about mid-season.
Yeah, the Achilles, man, 2 years in a row, that hurts.
Right, so that's a big question mark. But at the same time, it's just an
asset. That is literally your ace when healthy. But we saw what the other rotation guys stepped up, especially in October.
Right, and also Noah, Oscar Noah, he's supposed to be healthy on opening day, so that's a big thing. And they made their bullpen even stronger. They got some good guys too, man. You got Will Smith, Minter, Luke Jackson, Tyler Matzik. These guys, there's nothing to sleep on at all. I don't
like if Olsen could be the guy he was a couple years ago.
This is why I have him lower because
the question marks the Olsen. Which one is he going to be?
Yeah, but I'm saying when you lose Freeman and you replace him with Olsen, I don't know because I know what I'm getting with Freeman.
Because the potential, they're almost the same.
Yes.
If Olsen could be possibly better, but
Freeman was a huge asset in that lineup. He was a game changer.
Yeah. How comfortable are you be that you're now took Freddie Freeman's spot at first base?
Yes. So that's the reason I had him a little lower.
All right. So I feel like we flip flopped our 3 and 4.
Probably.
I feel like you. So at my number 4, I had our Mets.
And I have them at 3.
Okay. No team made himself more of all season, remade them more all season as New York Mets. Like we talked about, adding Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett to the team with Jacob deGrom to form the best top rotation in baseball. And adding Starling Marte, Mark Canha, and, Escobar just boost the lineup. The Mets look good on paper, but will it transition on the field?
Right. We always look good on paper.
The biggest question mark.
There's also other questions, like Robinson Cano, Dominic Smith. Are they going to be able to keep it up? J.D. Davis. Can they keep it up? That's all. So
you think about, you look at Smith, Cano.
Mm-hmm.
Them two are going to be the DH. They're going to have to share it because Escobar is most likely our third baseman. So left field is probably going to be Canha. Center, you're talking Starling Marte, and then Nemo is probably right, or Starling Marte might be right, and Nemo might be center.
Right.
So and then JD's second, Lindor's short. Pete's gonna be first.
That's what I'm saying. And then you can't sleep on Jeff McNeil, one of the best hitters usually. And it also depends on what we still can go out there and hopefully get back Conforto. I don't know. But then you look at like you said, you look at our pitching. We have the best top 2, DeGrom and Scherzer.
Yeah.
And then we got Chris Bassett, he killed it last year. I don't know if you know.
Last 2 years,
but he's been really good. And then if Cookie's healthy.
And then Taijuan Walker.
So it's not bad.
And then arguably we have 2 guys that could be in the rotation, but could be a 6-man if they do it for the first month, or there is 2, arms that's gonna be in AAA ready to come out to be long-term relievers.
Exactly.
And stuff. That there's so much options that we have as long as everyone stays healthy. To have a DeGrom and Scherzer as a 1-2 punch is scary to face. Like Nationals going against that first opening weekend, like when that rotation comes around, ace versus ace is always a hard game no matter what.
Right.
And then you have another ace where you're number 2. So it's like, that's not fair. And then Bassett, you can arguably is a number 2, which is number 3.
Exactly.
So then your 4 or 5 guys, and Cookie has been potential as a good third as your 4th.
Right. So you're facing really good pitchers every day.
Yeah.
That's what the Mets have going for them. Right now we have one of the best starting rotations, which we've been trying to do since 2015.
MLB.com has them at number 1, which I figured they had to be 1 or 2 besides the Brewers. Brewers are 2, Mets are 1. I said, I get that. Dodgers is that question mark because of Trevor Bauer's situation.
Look, and the reason I have them so high is because every single year I've been telling you guys we need pitching.
Yes.
And guess what? We finally have it. So
Uncle Stevie took care of that.
Exactly. So I'm liking what he's doing. He's sticking true to what he said. He wanted to get it done, 3 to 5 or something like that?
3 to 5. If he's not in a World Series, it'd been a letdown.
And
now it's 2 to 4 left.
As far as I'm concerned, even if we don't make it, we're doing the right stuff. In my opinion, we're going the right direction.
It's just, unfortunately, we either face the Braves in the division and Phillies what they did. It's going to make that division that much harder and closer towards the end of the season.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So anyways, Mets looking good, man.
All right. So we have flip-flops. So our top 2.
Yeah, our top Finally. 2. Well, we might be the same here.
I think so.
I got the Blue Jays at 2.
Same.
And then obviously Dodgers.
Dodgers have just too much on paper, but Blue Jays.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it, man.
We like them.
Adding Cosman and Kutcher as part of the Toronto rotation after, of course, losing Robbie Ray. But when you trade for Matt Chapman to be your third base, to shift everyone over in late spring trade, of course, with the Rockies that brought in outfield Tampa, these hitters in this lineup who may not mash over 20 or more home runs this season, but Blue Jays enter the regular season the highest ranked American League team in the power rankings that have talents that flex, their muscles against any competitive this season.
I'm just saying, man, their bats, you can't ignore their bats.
Yeah, if you think about it, if it wasn't for Ohtani, Vlad would have been MVP last year.
Exactly. So you got Vlad. Now you have a healthy George Springer.
Yeah.
We got Biggio, Jansen, Hernandez, Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even thinking
so
what's
think
going
about
on here.
You have Chapman, Bo Bichette, Vlad, and
George Springer,
Biggio,
Kirk, Gurriel.
All in the infield, and then you have the outfield options. And now you got a rotation the North is looking like the AL East favorite right now.
Yes, man.
If not the AL favorite.
And I know a couple years ago we were talking about when they signed Hyunjin Ryu. And
we're like,
maybe.
Okay, this could be a start. They needed pitching,
and they've been doing it, man. They
did some trades last season.
They also got a flamethrower in the offseason, I believe, Nate Pearson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. They got a lot of stuff going on.
They do. This is gonna be
and like you said, Gosman. They got Gosman and Berrios. They extended.
Man, if Vlad and the scary thing about Vlad,
oh God, if he has the same year,
is that he lost more weight but gained muscle this offseason, so he looks even better.
You know what's crazy is that when we saw his dad play, I was like, this guy's really good. Vlad is better than his dad.
Yeah,
he is a beast.
It is just scary, and like I said, their window is going to be closing very soon in a couple years. Yes, Chapman's agreed for the next 2 years, so they no arbitration. They agreed on what he's making the next 2 years. So really, this year, next year, this is your window. You think about for the Blue Jays. If not this year, it's next year. But they are making a run at it for this year. They want that World Series back up north in Canada.
And to be honest, man, I'm actually excited about the Blue Jays team.
I am.
When was the last time you said that? I mean, last year we were excited, but I'm just saying, like, the Blue Jays have always been a solid
after
3.
winning the back-to-back titles in the early 90s, they kind of started falling off, but
to be fair, the Yankees were kind of a force.
Became that team, and then you had some players in the early 2000s, but ended up walking and trading other players. But you drafted a great team, signed players, and now you're seeing pretty much your plan in motion. You have it. This is possibly y'all year. Good luck. I like the Blue Jays coming out of the AL now.
Yes, I really like the Blue Jays, but the team that I ultimately like,
everyone I think has this guy
that I would have to play with them if they were a video game team, is the Dodgers.
Yeah, when every year I saw like, if you beat them in October, they still your franchise player.
Exactly.
So it's unreal. You lost to them, and of course, the playoffs, and you stole Freddie Freeman from the Braves. It makes the favorites for the World Series that much stronger. You kept Chris Taylor, you kept Clayton Kershaw, and you add Freeman. It just flexes your muscle. What you got? How quickly is Max Muncy going to be 100%? Is former MVP Bellinger, can he capture his former self? So the lineup, this is the scariest lineup besides the Blue Jays on paper.
And it always is, man. It blows my mind because of how good they were last season. And then at the trade deadline, you pick up Max Scherzer and Trey Turner for nothing?
Yeah.
What is going on
here? For
2
top prospects and 2 other guys.
That is forever going to be one of the biggest
trades. It makes
trades.
sense because it was a just in case if Corey Seager walked, which he did. Now you have Trey Turner for a season.
Right. And that how I feel about Trey Turner. Yeah. He's my favorite middle infielder. So I can't believe that they even let that happen. Like, it's just the fact that their team got that much better. And now they went out and got Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
With a 6-year deal.
Yeah. So on paper, this lineup is very dangerous. Now, the question mark for them is their rotation. Yes, they got, Walker Buehler, Clayton came back. So how healthy is Clayton? And then the whole Trevor Bauer situation, he's most likely missing the first week of the season. They're supposed to have their investigation done. But do Dodgers bring him back or do they trade him? What kind of question mark is that? Because you think about it, you kind of need him because the other 3 guys, you don't know. Like, Dustin May's coming off injury.
Right.
And these other guys, like, so
Walker
you have
Buehler, Julio Urias.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're doing.
So Urias, you don't know. So Buehler proved himself last season. Clayton's on the back end of his career. Yeah. So you need Trevor Bauer in that rotation, especially when you're Dave Scherzer. Roberts and you're guaranteed a World Series ring. I'm like, whoa.
I mean,
brave.
To be fair, if anybody's going to guarantee a ring, I would be okay with the Dodgers doing so. But you're right. You can't be doing those kind of promises when your team is not the same. I mean, yes, your team is, like you said, filthy
on paper. Filthy, and I have so many options.
And we know what filthy on paper looks like because we've been talking about the Mets have been filthy on paper, the Yankees have been filthy on paper, but they didn't get it done. So yes, your team looks great on paper, but how are you going to perform?
Talk to me when your team looks in September.
Right. I mean, the good news is they got this great talent. They re-signed Chris Taylor. Their pitching staff could be better, but it's still not bad.
No, very not bad.
And like I've been saying, they're so deep that like their bench players are all-stars. So I feel like they have a shot. I mean, they have to be the favorite.
Yeah.
They have to be the favorite to go to the World Series. They're just tough, man. They're a tough team.
Yeah. All right, that is it for our power ranking episodes. Next week, this is it. Spring training will be over when we record next week. I think the last games was that day. And then everyone heads to the big clubs Thursday.
All right.
So next week is our prediction show. Who we think will be in the World Series, off-season awards. I can't wait to go into it. Who do y'all have for the World Series? Start thinking about it. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.